Ait Benhaddou is a fortified city, or Ksar, along the former caravan route between the Sahara and Marrakesh in present-day Morocco. It's situated in Sous Massadra, on a hill along the Ouarzazate river, and has some beautiful examples of casbahs, which unfortunately get damaged during each rainstorm. The village sits on a hill on the bank of a small river flowing down from the Atlas Mountains. It was reputedly founded in 757 and was started as the home for one family, and the settlement has grown out of this. The tomb of its founder, Benhaddou, is at the base of the hill behind the town. The front parts of the village are well restored, as this has been the setting of many films, from Lawrence of Arabia through to The Gladiator. It's also been a testing ground for UNESCO and ICOMOS in preservation techniques. Therefore, the first part of the town looks very impressive, almost new. The higher up the hill you climb, however, the less restoration you see, and this gives a good feel for what the site would be like without all the investment. It's quite a nice climb up to the top, but with a fair bit of rough ground. There's definitely no paving here. Many of the houses are still lived in, although most now cater for tourists as sellers of local and not-so-local Malayan artifacts. On the other side of the river is a more modern part of town, where you'll find restaurants and shops, still mostly of mud brick architecture. You have to cross the river by stepping stones, which is good fun. Ait Benhaddou is great to see both from a distance as well as from a lookout point. The view is spectacular, especially at sunrise and dawn. Established in the 11th century, it once commanded the surrounding area and served as a major stop for camel caravans carrying salt south across the Sahara and returning with ivory and gold. The earthen architecture of Ait Benhaddou displays some of the earliest surviving examples of unusual geometric arrangements of mud bricks at oblique angles and in zigzag patterns. However, this kind of construction is vulnerable to the elements, so regular restoration is required to maintain it. The village was starting to look a little run down in 1977, so its lower facades were restored for the filming of Jesus of Nazareth. With more filmmakers wanting to use the village as a location, the Moroccan government quickly realized the importance of protecting this treasure. In 1986, it was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Technically, Ait Benhaddou is a Ksar, a collective grouping of casbahs, family homes, other buildings and communal areas with defensive walls. The walls are reinforced by corner towers, each with elaborate mud brick decoration and zigzag-shaped gates. Interior buildings include a mosque, small castles, modest houses, stables, loft and silos. Among the communal areas are shared sheep pens and a marketplace. All are connected by a maze of winding, narrow streets. The village contains examples of all the main types of Ksar construction techniques found in southern Morocco. Ramming mass worked into panel brick and bull header, moulded earth and mud brick. The Atlas Mountains are the most northern of Africa's mountains, extending in a broken chain for over 1,000 miles across Morocco, Algeria and Tunisia. The High Atlas, home of the highest peaks in North Africa, is the western part of the range. The Atlas Mountains separate the northern, moist Mediterranean climate from the arid south. Northward, the mountains drop steeply, while southward they slope gradually into the hot, dry Sahara, which stretches for over 1,000 miles. From the ancient city of Marrakesh, the Atlas skyline stretches across the horizon, creating a backdrop of inspiring beauty. The High Atlas has been inhabited for thousands of years by a pastoral people known to Westerners as the Berbers, but who call themselves Shlu. They live in small villages of flat-roofed, sun-baked mud houses, usually situated atop steep mountain slopes. Speaking Berber, Arabic and French, they are as interesting and welcoming as they are knowledgeable of the mountains. The Atlas mountain summers are hot and harsh, while winter snows are very heavy. The high peaks maintain their snow caps for much of the year, but there are no glaciers. The city has historical importance. It has 2 casbahs, which UNESCO has included in its heritage program. Morocco has the Middle Atlas, the High Atlas and Anti-Atlas. The High Atlas is the highest, with Toubkal Mountain stretching to 4,165 meters. Anti-Atlas does not reach higher than 2,531 meters at the most, but still has some of the most rugged landscape. The Middle Atlas reaches 3,350 meters. Ten kilometers to the north of Ouarzazate stands the Casbah Tiful Tout, said to be over 300 years old. However, the present structure is largely 20th century, the original property of the Glaoui clan. The Casbah was converted to a hotel in the 1960s for the cast of Lawrence of Arabia. It's still a hotel, serving adequate food and giving some magnificent views from its terrace. The Casbah is open for visits for a small fee. You can climb the roof for amazing panoramic views over the countryside and a stork's nest on the turrets. Ouarzazate, located at an altitude of 1,160 meters, in the middle of an arid plateau, was built by the French as a garrison in the late 1920s. Since Lawrence of Arabia was shot in Ait Benhaddou in the 1960s, Ouarzazate and its region has been a popular filming location for many Hollywood blockbusters. The magnificent desert and mountain scenery and the plentiful supply of authentic-looking extras have been a favourite director's choice. The Casbahs is located at the east end of town, a 20-minute walk from the centre. This was built by the Galois chiefs in the 19th century and reached its height in the 1930s, when it was considered the largest casbah in Morocco, an enormous construction housing the family of the chief, his servants and followers, as well as a community of labourers, builders and craftsmen. Unfortunately, the casbah has fallen into decline, and despite rehabilitation plans, parts of the casbah are partly ruined, and the rear end is still occupied by the poor in Ouarzazate, in a maze of narrow alleyways, houses and shops. What you're shown is the maintained area adjacent to the main road, which would have been the quarters of the family and extended relatives, including courtyards and reception rooms. Ouarzazate is a city of different cultures and artistic traditions. It's in the midst of the desert and is the departure point for the oasis. The city is also known among tourists for its marvelous town. Many people the world over come to Ouarzazate to experience fantastic spiritual moments before the Virgin Sahara. The Ksar, a group of earthen buildings surrounded by high walls, is a traditional pre-Saharan habitat. The houses are crowded together within the defensive walls, which are reinforced by corner towers. Ait Benhaddou, in Ouarzazate province, is a striking example of the architecture of southern Morocco. Since 1987, Ksar of Ait Benhaddou has been a World Heritage Site classified by UNESCO.